Yeah. 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 So many lies that you hear from the net, they don't get her respect. She reporting the truth, not a check. You want an unbiased opinion straight from the chest, not a bit of accomplice or someone here for a check. Tune in, these are thoughts from a lawyer on a mission who goes so hard it's like she works on commission. Trolls in the comments might say she tripping cause they lack the knowledge, they don't know they missing. Got a couple current events that you like, wanna know about law from the eyes. Tired of all these blogs running lies because they agendas are disguised. Tune in to the intellect, cause I'm sure y'all missing all the facts of the case that she steady is gifting. Someone here for the people, man, it's so uplifting. If you ain't subscribed yet, then you just omitting facts.
Hello, everyone. It is Pam Esquire, also known as your Law Intellect. I hope you guys are having a great Monday. We have some Ernest Williams news. As we creep towards the final plea, it looks like the DA is not letting their foot off of his neck. They are not playing any games. What are you talking about, Pam? There was a document filed today where the government said, wait, judge, we got one more thing that we want to add to supplement to our motion to dismiss, the motion to suppress related to that truck. So what I want you guys to do, I want y'all to hit the like button. And I'm going to need you to subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. And tell Lottie Dottie and everybody that we are on. All right? So let me recap. I'm going to let my co-counsel recap for you right now as I post that we're live on Instagram.
And another thing you notice, the first thing they say, make sure you guys hit that like and the subscribe button. That's what it's all about. After they get them dogging you out, before they dog you out, that's the first thing they say. If you like this video, make sure you hit.
You have 1 minute remaining.
So I need you guys to follow instructions and hit that like and subscribe button. All right. I'm going to thank you guys already for supporting your girl. I appreciate that. Only Me 23 gifted 1 membership. Thank you so much for the love and the support. T-Rain said, yes, ma'am, sis. Thank you so much for the super chat. And Old Handy Girl's been a member for 9 months, and I'm definitely about to bring it. All right. So let me go ahead and I'm going to post this on Instagram because everybody didn't get the notifications. All right. And I'm going to hear all about who didn't get it, and they just got it an hour later and they just figured out I was on and all of that. So what I want to do is I make sure that I throw it up on my story. All right. And then let me go to my wall real quick. Keep hitting that like button, all right? So people know that we are on. I literally just got out of a deposition because when I first came on, I said I was going to talk about Shannon Sharp and them. You know what I'm saying? I was like, dang, Shannon, you done caught a case too. But then this came down. When I went to check Ernesto Williams to see what was going on in his case, I saw this document file and I was like, Shannon, time's out. You're going to have to wait. By this time, everybody talked about him anyway. So, I mean, what do you do when you got a job and you got to work the job? It is what it is. All right. So, I'm going to post this on my wall. All right. Let me say hi to some of y'all real quick. Yeah, Shannon is real crazy. What's happening with Shannon? Child, Shannon, you didn't hear, Abby? Somebody has filed over there in Nevada a multi-million-dollar lawsuit against Shannon Sharp saying that he SA'd her. Uncle Unc. Yeah, that's what happened earlier today. But the attorney is, Busby, and yeah. I miss you too, 504 Empress. I miss you too. I'm glad you made it over here. Hey, Fiber Ecclesia. Hey, Vintage. Hey, April. Hey, Miss HLS. Hey, Miami Lady T. Hey, C Green. I haven't seen a lot of you guys in a long time. Kaz S said Nesto is the drama that keeps on giving forever and a day. Do you? I giggle a little on the inside too when I play Dre. Because he was so serious. He was like, one thing for sure though. When they do these videos, they always tell you to hit that to describe and like button. They so country. It's cute though. I'm not like bashing them for their, country. It's just cute. All right, y'all. What are we doing? What are we doing here? Did you guys hit the like button? Okay, we've been in for 6 minutes here. Yeah, it was a lot of zeros behind it. It's like 50 million. I think it's 50 million they asking for, but that's just the initial asking price. You know how folks do. Just throw numbers on pleadings. And it sounds like somebody he actually has some form of a relationship with at some point. So yeah, it's a lawsuit for $50 million. Let me see if Shannon Sharp has responded right quick before we get into Nesto. I haven't even looked at that complaint on Shannon Sharp either because I've been working. Let me see if he responds to lawsuit claim. But whoever it is, like the quotes that I heard from like looking at the articles, it sounds like it was someone he was familiar with. Like they had a relationship and maybe it was consensual off and on or whatever. I don't know. But it's bad. She said she was in a rocky consensual relationship. That's what she called it. Why? You know what? I think that's what everybody thought, because that's what I thought. I said that's probably that lady that was over there that on that Instagram. Over there at that Instagram when he said, Ocho. Ocho, I don't know nothing about and I never used this in my life. Ocho, I didn't do that on purpose. I would never do that. I don't even know how to use Instagram. Good to see you too, Amelia. Good to see you. All right, let's get into it. Let's get serious. So what is going on today with Ernest Williams? Y'all ready for this? So today, at approximately 2:03 p.m. on April 21st, the state did a notice of filing a supplemental exhibit to the state's motion to dismiss defendant's motion to suppress vehicle search for lack of standing. And remember, we went over that motion to dismiss because what was alleged is that Shirley Strawberry didn't even get this car for you. I mean, didn't even sign all this stuff for you. They said if Shirley Strawberry were to testify, she would basically say that he was able to obtain this truck by fraud. But let's get into it. Comes now the state of Georgia banned through the undersigned council and gives notice of filing the supplemental exhibit to the state's motion to dismiss defendant's motion to suppress vehicle search for lack of standing that was filed on January 24th of 2025. The state previously submitted that it expects that if called as a witness in this matter, Shirley Strawberry would testify that the defendant purchased a Ford F350 vehicle and registered it in her name without her knowledge or consent. On April 18th of 2025, the state received documents in response to a request issued to Westlake Financial Services, a financial services company offering automotive financing. Those documents include a motor vehicle credit application and a retail installment contract executed in connection with the purchase of the Ford F350 at issue in the defendant's suppression motion. The documents falsely and fraudulently purport to have been executed by Miss Strawberry and include at least 5, for my bilingual intellects, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 forged electronic signatures made in her name. See OCGA section 16-9-93 sub D and 16-9-121 sub A sub 1. The vehicle credit application lists Miss Strawberry's telephone number at the time the application was executed as 678 redaction. This telephone number is unknown to Miss Strawberry and has never belonged to her. A search of law enforcement databases reveal that this telephone number currently belongs to or previously belonged to a subject identified as Alicia Joliet Alexander, a known associate of the defendant. Y'all want to know what else the application had that they are alleging is not right? Are you guys hitting that like button? Huh? All the documents. The application further lists Miss Strawberry's email as redacted. This email address is unknown to Miss Strawberry and has never belonged to her. The application further lists Miss Strawberry's employer as Premier Networks. We all know she worked for Steve Harvey and them. Premier, is that where the network is? I don't know. Premier Networks with the telephone number 770 blankety blankety blank because it's redacted. A search of law enforcement database indicates that this telephone number is not associated with Premier Networks. Moreover, Premier Network is headquartered in Sherman Oaks, California, and presumably would not use a telephone number with the 770 area code, which serves the Atlanta metro area. So basically, Premier Network is in California. Why would they have an Atlanta area code? Duh. It's basically what they're saying. She works for iHeartRadio. Do they have that's what Bible Lady said. Okay. Yeah. The application further lists a subject identified as Carlos Lamont as Miss Strawberry's nearest relative. The application describes Carlos Lamont as a quote friend and lists Carlos Lamont's telephone number as 424 redaction. A search of law enforcement databases revealed that this telephone number currently belongs to or previously belonged to a subject identified as Earl Lamont Dunbar, a known associate of the defendant. The defendant has made numerous lengthy telephone calls to Mr. Dunbar at the telephone number 424 redaction while incarcerated at the Cobb County Jail since his initial arrest in this matter. Finally, there's more. The application lists a subject identified as Falta Ellis as Miss Strawberry's additional reference and lists Falta Ellis's telephone number as 404 redaction. A search of law enforcement databases revealed that the telephone number currently belongs to or previously belonged to a subject identified as Jasmine Dominique Ellis, a known associate of the defendants. Miss Strawberry has no knowledge of any individual using the name Carlos Lamont or of any individual using the name Falta Ellis. Let me see what y'all saying. It's a lot going on here, allegedly. Just put allegedly on my forehead. 504 said Josh Jones, aka Childbearing. You know what? For Always Forever said 404 and 770 are both Atlanta area codes. Y'all moving fast in these comments. Hold on. Slow down. Time's out. Give me a minute. I'm trying to acknowledge some of your comments now. Slow down. Jeez. Patty said, Dion, get your daddy. Your daddy. Nikki Love say, low down, dirty dog. Oh. Well, thank you so much, Caramel Q2, for the super chat. I appreciate the love. Bonita, thank you so much for being a member for 13 months. Yeah, we're gonna get back into it. I just wanted to see what you guys like. What are the social media jurors thinking right now? Well, maybe Lamont didn't know that his name was allegedly put on the application. Like, I don't think he, when you go in and you fill information out, but see how my next question would be, how was he able to go in and do all this and get a whole car note financing in his wife's name? I don't understand how that's okay with the financing company or whoever gave the cars to, because I got cars that specifically in my name. It was times where my husband was like looking for the cars for me because I don't like dealing with any of that stuff. And I still had to personally bring myself in there and sign the papers because it was going to be my car. So I'm not understanding unless a woman came in there. Is that what they saying, y'all? Alleging that a woman came in there and acted like she was Shirley. This is all just speculation in my mind because I'm not understanding how he could go in there by himself. Okay, let me go on. Let me finish reading. Maybe it'll give me more insight as I read. Okay. So we went through that. It is believed that Carlos Lamont and Falta Ellis are both fictitious persons whose identifying information was fraudulently created and used by the defendant for the purpose of committing a crime or fraud in connection with the purchase of the Ford F350 at issue in the defendant's suppression motion. See OCGA section 16-9-121 sub A4. It is further believed that the telephone number and email address described above, none of which have any legitimate connection to Miss Strawberry, were intentionally used to conceal the fact that Miss Strawberry's name, date of birth, and social security number and other identifying information were used in connection with the purchase of the Ford F350 at issue in the defendant's suppression motion. For these reasons, and for the reasons set forth in the state's motion to dismiss, defendant's motion to suppress vehicle search for lack of standing filed on January 24, 2025, the court should dismiss the defendant's motion to suppress vehicle search on grounds that any subjective privacy expectation that defendant has asserted in the Ford F350 at issue is not an expectation that society is prepared to accept as legitimate and objectively reasonable because the Ford F350 was procured by fraud. That was a mouthful. I mean, no breathers up. That was a long sentence. As a result, the defendant lacks standing to challenge the search. So let me look at this, what's attached real quick, because this is the first time I read it. I just kind of glanced over it. Okay, they did redact a whole lot of stuff. Okay. So the application, I'm trying to look and make sure it's nothing up on here. Gross income. Make sure I don't put anything on the screen. Okay. So this. My. Okay, I think they redacted everything. All right, we're gonna pull this up. I mean, I figure he would because he knew that we're paying attention to the case. But let me pull this back on the screen now that I have taken a little gander so you guys can see the document that they are referring to. Okay. This is from Westlake Financial Services Retail Motor Vehicle Credit Application. It's over 1,000 of you guys in here. If you guys could hit that like, subscribe to the channel if you're not already a subscriber. Thank you so much. Okay, important information about procedures for opening a new account. Federal law requires all financial institutions to obtain, verify, and record information that identifies each person who opens an account. You may be asked several questions, including but not limited to your name, address, date of birth, and other information that will allow us to identify you and to provide one or more forms of identification to fulfill this requirement. Okay, so it has Shirley Strawberry. They had the Bent Creek Manor address, the one where they got evicted from. Oh, they do got iHeart host Steve Harvey, his current employment, current employer, Premier Network, but they used a different number, allegedly. They only put the monthly rent payment is $2,500. The gross monthly salary is $25,000. Time at current job, 12 years and 0 months. So it looks like they got the right entity and the wrong number, I guess, so you couldn't check it, is what it looks like. Then they got Carlos Lamont and this Falta Ellis person, and they got numbers for them having their gross income at 25 with the 25,000. There is no co-applicant on here. I don't think we care about that portion. There's no joint credit intention signature, so there's nothing. Is Shirley's middle name with a C? I don't. What have I been calling her Shirley Ann, and that's not really her name? I might have just sounded like it, like a C. I thought it was Shirley Ann. I don't know. In the call, Dion said she wanted to sell the truck. She did. She said, honey, so this is what had happened. I don't know. She did say that. I agree with you, honey. Say that. And that's what was throwing me off about the truck situation, is because now, unless she didn't know it was in her name, because again, like in our state, unless you were born in the same month, you would know if that's your month and not your husband's month. You know what I'm saying? So we would kind of know based on the registration. But perhaps he got this, and maybe that's what they're alleging, and she didn't know, and maybe she didn't find out until they had to go get the truck, and then he said, well, you know, I put that in your name or whatever it was. Maybe that's when she found out, and so that's why she wanted to get rid of it. Or perhaps he may have information to say that she knew about it. But the flip side of that is, if she knew about it, why would we be allegedly putting people like Lamont, who's not related to her, these other names that's not related to her, putting a number that's not her employer, putting information on there that's not the truth. So when did she find out? Did it get procured? And that's what they're alleging. When he originally got it, she didn't get permission. So maybe that's all that they're saying that they need. And maybe because it is what it was, she just went on ahead and was like, okay, I'm going to sell this. So we don't know. This is why everybody has to look at both sides and see what both arguments could be. Because I said the same thing. I was like, my goodness, when I listened to like the phone calls, it felt like she knew that he had this truck, because she said, I don't want to drive it. She knew she had to go get it. He said, you're the only one that can go get it. So maybe it was that originally he got it without permission. She found out later, but I mean, it wasn't nothing she can do about it except say, my husband got this truck without it being in my, without me knowing about it. And what you gonna do? Turn your husband in? And this is obviously Shirley not knowing all this other stuff that it's alleged that he's doing. So maybe she didn't want to like turn him in, but now that the information is out there, she's like, listen, I didn't tell him that he can get that truck. He got that truck without my signature, without me knowing. But again, I'm just thinking out loud. Again, it feels like if you had permission, you wouldn't have to put Lamont and whoever these alleged fictitious people are and put these fictitious numbers. Okay. So let me see what you guys think. I never left my house and my name and information was used for a purchase of a car by a relative. Oh, wow. That's from Pebble Lane 911. She said it can happen. Yep, I would have turned this liquid VRC. That's from Joanne Lindsay. Chris J says Shirley gonna play dumb to the end. That's a good piece. Obsessed with the mess said, I think she thought she was the only one that could get it because she's his wife, not because it's in her name. She may not have realized her name was actually on it. Okay, obsessed with the mess. That's a good theory. I can appreciate that. So Eccentric says she probably knew he had it, just not in her name. AK's POV says she probably didn't. It was in her name until she went to sell it. Or when you go to buy you another one and they tell you already got a car in your name. Roddy Love says Shirley knew that he was a known criminal, so she didn't ask questions. That part said Nesto set up Shirley. This is all alleged, okay? P. Edwards said yes, and at all she seemed upset finding out that truck in her name she did not even pay off, as he pretended he did. You know what? Thank you for refreshing my recollection. There was a call of which she did make it seem like, I thought you said it was paid off. And he talked in circles and said something about making it seem like if you turn the truck in, then you can get something else. Or like he talked around it. So maybe she thought it was in her name, but it was paid off. That could be it too. I do remember that call when she said, I thought the truck was already paid off. Whew, this is a lot. Miami said, yep, he brushed it under the rug. She had no idea. Okay. They say Westlake will charge all your coins by dealing with them. If you borrow 100, they will charge you 100 in interest. Oh yeah, I did see that interest rate when I was perusing through the documents. He told Sonia it was too. When she tried to get insurance, she found out. That's from Lit Twerker. 504 says she's sick of these folks. So let's go on. Let's see what else is on here. So then it says by signing this application. So again, no joint credit intention on here. I authorize dealer and any finance company, bank, or other financial institution to which the dealer submits my application to investigate my credit and employment history and obtain credit reports in order to evaluate this application or for any other legitimate purpose in connection with this application. I authorize you to contact any listed references. So were they contacted? You think they contacted references that I have provided on this application, both for the purposes of evaluating my credit worthiness and for servicing purposes after my loan has been funded in order to obtain location information. I further authorize you to forward my application and all related information to other creditors for evaluation as a method of effectuating my request for credit. If an account is created, I authorize you to obtain credit reports from time to time as you wish for the purposes of reviewing or taking collection action on the account or for other legitimate purposes associated with the account. I agree that you, your affiliates, agents, and services providers may monitor and record telephone calls. So they probably got some telephone calls regarding my account to assure the quality of your service or for other reasons. I also expressly consent and agree to you, your affiliates, agents, and services providers using written, electronic, or verbal means to contact me as the law allows. This consent includes, but is not limited to, contact by manual calling methods, pre-recorded, or artificial voice messages. Blase, blah. Basically, if you behind, we about to blow your phone up. I certify that I have read and agreed to the terms of this application and that the information in it is complete and true. So he got this back in 2020. So y'all telling me that he had this. Y'all, that's gonna bother me. I just can't believe her middle name is with a C. Let me look up Shirley Strawberry's middle name because I've just been making it up for her. Maybe is it Sheridan? Maybe that's what it is, huh? I think her middle name is Sheridan, right? It say it's not provided in the search. Results. Maybe her middle name is Sheridan. All right, I just was calling her Shirley Ann for no reason. Okay, I digress. So then it has a signature on January 28th. Then it has the marketing consent, and it has an electronic signature on January 28th. And it's for the F350. The cash selling price was $34,995. He put $12,500 down. Okay. So they were financing $25,000 for $25,421.67. It was only for a term of 48. So 4 years. Okay. So then they got a copy. So here the first payment was going to be March 10th of 2020. This high earth annual percentage of 28.29%. Amount financed $25,421, and the finance charge is $17,745. So at the end of the day, the total payments is $43,167 for something you owe $25,000 on. This is a racket. So 48 payments at $899.32. And that was beginning on March 10th of 2020. That's a lot of money, man. And you put $12,500 down? Insurance. So there's no credit and no credit life insurance, no credit disability insurance. No additional protection, no gap waivers. She basically waived all of that, or whoever signed this waived all of that. I'm not going to read all of this little language here. Obligations independent. Each person who signs this contract agrees to pay this contract according to its terms. This means the following. You must pay this contract even if someone else has also signed it. So I guess that's for the co-signage. You may release any co-buyer or guarantor and you will still be obligated to pay this contract. Base. Oh, yeah. My gosh. Then they got Shirley Strawberry at the end. Desiree is the one that I guess she signed it over there at Laris. Trucks was the seller. And that's that, y'all. So I'm going to go back to the beginning before I get off of here because it's like 1,500 of y'all now, and I started out with 600 when I started this. So make sure you guys hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. I'm going to read what is Pam talking about because I want you guys to be able to interact instead of replay right now. The state has filed a notice of filing supplemental exhibit to the state's motion to dismiss defendant's motion to suppress the vehicle search for lack of standing. So the state of Georgia, by and through the undersigned counsel, and gives notice of filing this supplemental exhibit to the state's motion to dismiss defendant's motion to suppress vehicle search for lack of standing filed on January 24, 2025. The state previously submitted that it expects, and if you guys recall when we went over the motion to dismiss, they did say that if they called as a witness in this matter, Shirley Strawberry, that she would testify that the defendant purchased a Ford F350 vehicle and registered it in her name without her knowledge or consent. On April 18th of 2025, the state received documents in response to a request issued to Westlake Financial Services, a financial services company offering automotive financing. Those documents include a motor vehicle credit application and a retail installment contract executed in connection with the purchase of the Ford F350 at issue in the defendant's suppression motion. And that's what we just went over in this exhibit here. The vehicle credit application lists Ms. Strawberry's telephone number at the time the application was executed with an area code of 678, redaction. This telephone number is unknown to Ms. Strawberry and has never belonged to her. A search of law enforcement database reveals that this telephone number currently belongs to or previously belonged to a subject identified as Alicia Joliet Alexander, a known associate of the defendant. So where Shirley Strawberry's number was in the application, allegedly, according to the government, Alicia Joliet Alexander, that was her phone number, who is someone associated with Nesto. This, and then the application further lists an email address for Ms. Strawberry. That email address is unknown to Ms. Strawberry and has never belonged to her. If you guys have followed this channel, you guys know that there was a young lady named Erica King. And we went over some documents of which she was standing in as lawyers for a whole eviction. All right. And she filled out documents. And I told you all on one of the videos, I don't know, it's been 2 years since we've been covering this, where when I looked over the eviction documents, I was saying that Shirley may not have known about the eviction because when the service of process came, he signed everything. But what was also interesting was there was an email that was attached to the renter's agreement. And that email was like someone where it was an assistant that they said that was handling all of the information. So I'm wondering if this is the same person who was handling all this stuff with the renters, and that email address may have been used, but it wasn't Shirley's email for that as well. But she was on the renter's application. This email address is unknown, okay, to Ms. Strawberry, and it's never belonged to her. The application further lists Ms. Strawberry's employer as Premier Network with the telephone number 770. And it sounds like they may be who iHeartRadio is under, which is who she does work for, looking at the application. However, this phone number is not associated with the actual place of business. It is a Georgia number, but this Premier Network is located in Cali, which would be a whole different area code. A search of law enforcement database indicates that this telephone number is not associated with Premier Networks. Moreover, Premier Network is headquartered in Sherman Oaks, California, and presumably would not use a telephone number with a 770 area code, which serves the Atlanta metro area. The application further lists the subject identified as Carlos Lamont as Ms. Strawberry's nearest relative. The application describes Carlos Lamont as a, quote, friend and lists Carlos's number at 424 redaction. A search of law enforcement databases revealed that this telephone number currently belongs to or previously belonged to a subject identified as Earl Lamont Dunbar. Y'all heard about Lamont, on the phone calls from prison, a known associate of the defendant. The defendant has made numerous lengthy telephone calls to Mr. Dunbar at that telephone number while incarcerated at Cobb County Jail since his initial arrest in this matter. Finally, the application lists a subject identified as Walter Ellis as Ms. Strawberry's additional reference and lists Walter Ellis's telephone number with the 404 area code. A search of law enforcement database reveals that this telephone number currently belongs to or previously belonged to a subject identified as Jasmine Dominique Ellis. We've heard a lot about Dominique too. A known associate of the defendant, Ms. Strawberry, has no knowledge of any individual using the name Carlos Lamont or of any individual using the name Walter Ellis. So clearly they've been talking to Ms. Strawberry. Quiet to us, but talking to the government, okay? It is believed that Carlos Lamont and Walter Ellis are both fictitious persons whose identifying information was fraudulently created and used by the defendant for the purpose of committing a crime or fraud in connection with the purchase of the Ford F350 at issue in the defendant's suppression motion. It is further believed that the telephone number and email address described above, none of which have any legitimate connection to Ms. Strawberry, were intentionally used to conceal the fact that Ms. Strawberry's name, date of birth, social security number, and other identifying information were used in connection with the purchase of the Ford F350 at issue in the defendant's suppression motion. For these reasons, and for the reasons set forth in the state's motion to dismiss, the defendant's motion to suppress vehicle search for lack of standing, filed on January 24, 2025, the court should dismiss the defendant's motion to suppress vehicle search on grounds that any subjective privacy expectation the defendant has asserted in the Ford F350 at issue is not an expectation that society is prepared to accept as legitimate and objectively reasonable because the Ford F350 was procured by fraud. Basically, they're saying he shouldn't have an expectation of privacy because you shouldn't have got the vehicle in the first place because you procured it by fraud. And any legitimate and objective reasonable person in society will say, if you procure, that's like you going out and stealing a car and then saying, oh, but they searched the car that I stole without my permission. That's kind of what they're saying in a nutshell. But anyway, they are asking that search warrant, the suppression, which is the last time that I went down there and got the video of, they are asking that be denied or dismissed rather, because he doesn't have standing, because he doesn't have a legitimate expectation of privacy in a vehicle of which he procured through fraud. Any questions, you guys? That was the replay. How can you steal and then want privacy with other people's money? Grace, mercy, save. That's pretty much what the state is saying right now. So again, he is innocent until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. I know that he has advocates out here. If any of his advocates want to DM me or email me and explain some things. You know what I'm saying? I will present that information as well. Did Shirley Strawberry know about this? Did she know about this truck? Because if she did know about it, see, when I looked at what occurred with the rental property, a lot of the stuff seems kind of parallel of the MO, because with the rental property, when we looked at the emails and all of that stuff that was attached with the rental property situation, Shirley, it wasn't her email, it was a third party. Everything is to keep her out in the dark. Now let Erica King tell us, she said everything that was done was to protect Shirley. I'm starting to feel like, and this is just my opinion, that a lot of things were done to keep Shirley ignorant. Now, was it plausible deniability in some of this stuff, that some things just look a little quirky? Because I'm not saying everybody is not like me, where I'm going to look on my good credit report all the time. Okay. Most credit cards, they have credit alerts where you can go look at your credit. So there is no way that you can have a whole car note where you're going to end up paying for 4 years, even though the car note was only $800 and something, but nevertheless, it would be on your credit report. So what you are saying is that you never looked on your credit report and seen it, or are we just saying that when he initially got it, like I said, she didn't give him permission. It was a big spat about it. Maybe they were arguing or something. But at the end of the day, what's she gonna do? She gonna go to the police on her husband? Maybe that was the situation that she was in. But for me, I find it hard to believe that all the way up to them phone calls we heard that she just didn't know. But perhaps she didn't know until she went and picked the car up. It's a lot here. There's a lot. So let me see what you guys are saying. And yeah, hit that like button, because I'm about to get up off of here in a minute. TD Will said, I monitor my credit report every week. There's nothing on there I don't know about it. That's me too. But you know, everybody's not like us. And so that's why I say, ask for me, because everybody's not like me. Everybody doesn't move the way I move. So just saying. If she didn't know, that means you didn't look at your credit report since 2020. He got locked up in what, 2022? Unless the state is just banking on the fact that when he originally got it, it was not with permission. So I don't know. She knew when she and Dion went to pick up that auction. I know, because she was the only one that could do it. I think we knew about that time. She knew that it was in her name. Relly said, my name is unique, so if anything out of the normal happens, it will have to be done by someone that knows me. None your business said, didn't y'all say Shirley wasn't good with finance even before Nesto? Why is anyone surprised she didn't check her credit report? Okay, none your business. You ain't gotta check us like that, sis. But you right. Some people was saying allegedly, she had some issues with keeping up with her finances before. That's a good point. Good point. We just over here brainstorming out loud. All right. So you ain't gotta come at us like that. None of your business. Okay. You said I need to do better. I don't even know when is the last time I looked at my credit report. See, Loving Me said that they don't look at the credit report. So you get some people that don't look at it. But who came in? Because see, what I said in the beginning is, so it's meant to, I know one of the cars that I have, I wanted the car, but I don't like going through any of the rigmarole because I'm just busy all the time. And so when Dev was looking to get the car, regardless of whether we were married or not, because it was going to be my car and my name, Pam had to get her lazy self up and go get in the car and go to that dealership and sign all them documents. So I'm trying to understand, is there videotape of somebody of which she walked in there, where some woman walked in there? Like, who was there to verify your signature? What ID was used? It's just leaving me with a lot of questions. Do y'all get me? You get me? You get what I'm saying? Like, so was this a whole online transaction? But you got to eventually personally go pick the car up. Who drove off the lot with the car? Did she call and say, hey, my husband, or some woman called and said, oh, he's going to come and pick it up? I don't know. I just got a lot of questions. High Vibe says Shirley wasn't going to look for bad news. She had prior evictions before Nesto. Right. That is true. Her salary probably got her by, and she didn't care about interest rates because she didn't pay her bills. That's from High Vibe. Pam, you don't have to go in places and sign anymore. We do e-sign loans. Let me see. When the last time I got a car? That was a couple of years ago. I had to take myself to the dealership. Does it depend on what dealership? How do you not verify? That means if that's the case where you can just, I get it. I sent e-signing for my clients, so I'm familiar with that. I do e-sign. So I don't want, all of the different things that, clients come into the office to sign authorizations and all of that. No, you don't have to do that unless they require or request a wet signature. So I understand that. But how do you verify as a dealership that someone is who they say that they are? If you do everything online, somebody got to physically go get the car, or they dropping it off at your house like a vending machine. I'm just trying to understand the process, because all I have to base it on is my experience. So maybe somebody else has a different experience where someone was able to sign all the paperwork and they didn't have to go in. That's all. I'm just trying to get an understanding. Bible lady said, in 2019, my spouse purchased a car, picked out a car for me. I had to go down to the dealership, present my ID, sign the paperwork before I could leave the lot with the car. And that was my experience. That's all I'd say. What state are you in? I'm in Michigan. That was my experience too. So I don't know. Kendall all day said yes, there were B or C class dealerships. They would have accepted anything. Oh, okay. I know she knew about the car because it was there. Like, he drove it. So clearly she seen him in the car. But so I agree with, maybe she didn't know it was in her name. I did an e-sign loan, but a dealership is in person. Okay. Very Cherry says, I'm about that life. My dealership delivered my car. Well, maybe maybe it's above me. Maybe you above my tax bracket, Very Cherry. So yeah. Aren't they gonna verify who they deliver it to though? They just dropping off cars. You get a car like Oprah. You get a car. You get a car. That just seems like you're setting yourself up for somebody to say that you allowed someone to get something in my name. My friend purchased a Mercedes and never stepped foot in the dealership. She did everything via signed docs, mailed via FedEx. Okay, the only black but not bitter. Okay, so maybe that's what he did. You saying maybe he e-signed it, sent everything in, and then just went and picked up the car? Maybe. Granny the Gray said the loan was with another bank. It was not buy here, pay here. No, I understand that, but typically, so let me say because my experience ain't got to be the only experience. I've bought and paid for several cars that had notes on them. Well, I'm not going to say several, like I'm just out here with a whole fleet, because I'll be exaggerating. But over the years, I've had a few cars that I've bought brand new. And when you go in, like a lot of times I'll go in pre-approved with a specific financing company because I use them all the time and I know it's going to be easy. But when I go in there, they always offer me other financing companies. So the dealership where I get it from, they're the ones, even though even though the vehicle, the place where I'm about to buy the vehicle, the dealership may not be the company that gives me the loan. They usually are the ones that will help you find a loan, if it makes sense. So I've come in with pre-approvals and they still was like, well, we got so and so and such and such, and they got a lower rate, and you qualify for this. So even though it's not pay here, buy here per se, oftentimes the option of where you get your financing is at the place where you get your car. That's just my experience. Like I said, I don't got to make my experience your experience. Nesto was lucky he didn't get left thinking. You get me? Thank you so much for the super chat. We're thinking about doing things the legal way, but remember, we're talking about Nesto. But I'm thinking about, like, you're right. We're thinking about how it typically is done, right? And apparently with new technology but even when you get things notarized, you usually have to have, like when I've done virtual notaries, I have to show my ID, or the person had to show their IDs. Like, and they look and they still have a way to verify and to validate. What I'm saying is, I get that they're putting all this in there and all this stuff was forged, and Shirley Strawberry says she ain't had nothing to do with it. But I guess my question is, was there someone else? Was it a woman that came in and posed as Shirley Strawberry? Because other than that, unless literally no faces are ever seen for no reason, because that's how they do business, that wouldn't make sense to me. I feel you, Angel, here. You said always went in and kicked the tires to check the car out every single time. Nick Hart said the dealership was going to brag they sold a car to a celebrity. I don't know. I just got a lot of questions. But anyway, this is the update of which, and then of course there was a new discovery attached to it because they have to turn over this additional information that they've gotten from the dealership. So that was also attached on the file where there was a new certificate of additional discovery. I think that makes it like the fourth one or something. I think it's like the fourth set of discovery. Let me see how many they done turned over. Oh, the fifth. So they did the fifth certificate of discovery, which was basically their response. The information that I just went over probably is what they gave them, because they just got it on April 18th, so they did turn that over. And so we'll see what happens. As you guys know, on April 30th, he is there for the final plea. There were phone calls where it seems like there were cursory conversations about it, how it was moved up, and his step co-counsel was on there and basically was saying that, hey, it was too far anyway. It should have been moved up, which I agree. I think out in June was ridiculous, but who am I? I'm just on YouTube talking about the case. And we're going to see. We're going to see if there's any responses. We haven't seen any responses to the dismissal. We haven't seen anything. And maybe they got some case law that says at some point, well, I'm not going to say that because there might be case law out there like that. So I'm not going to say that. But I think it's going to be interesting just to see what the response is going to be and what he's going to say. Maybe he's going to say, she gave me permission. I handle all of the business. So she gave me permission to go get it. I got several things in her name and she knew I did it all the time. Now, what if he says that? That would be interesting. So anyway, it's over 1,500 of y'all. I don't know why all of a sudden y'all want to pile up in here now and I'm about to get off here. I've been on here for a whole hour. So what I want you to do if you just got here is I want you to hit the like and subscribe to the channel and hit the replay and leave a comment, and then I'll come check you out in the comments, okay? Sexy RN said it doesn't sound believable because he used emails and phone numbers she was not aware of. That was a great point. See, that's why y'all so smart. Y'all so smart. That's a good point. Pen Pal said y'all weren't married legally, so how? And that's what the motion to dismiss said. Basically, you wouldn't even be having this, she wouldn't have, if we wasn't married for real, a lot of this stuff just wouldn't even happen. And I wouldn't have married you if I knew you was married to somebody else, because we all know a married person can't get married. So Even if Shirley knew it, I don't believe anything that comes out of Nesto's mouth. You know what? He ain't said nothing yet. Let the man give up his, whatever his defense is. What up, though? 313. Good to see you. Someone from my neck of the woods said before test driving a car, you must show a driver's license. That might be just here, 313, because apparently they do all type of other stuff in other states. I don't know. Yes, Very Cherry. Make sure you hit the replay. But I'm out of here. All right, y'all. I got to get back to work. I literally stopped in the middle of what I was doing. So I hope you guys enjoyed the live.
And another thing you notice, the first thing they say, make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button. That's what it's all about. After they get them dogging you out, before they dog you out, that's the first thing they say. If you like this video, make sure you hit.
You have 1 minute remaining.
Thank y'all for the 1,500 that came up in here to rock with your girl. I hope you guys enjoyed the live, and we'll be back to do it all over again, Lord willing. Talk to you next time.